Hello and welcome to this special edition of Understanding Spirit. Yes, I know it's a Wednesday afternoon and the sun's shining. Well, it is down in Staffordshire anyway. And I'm really looking forward to this show. One of my dear colleagues in the OCAC Church is with me today, Seth Ben Archer, and I'm really looking forward to finding out more about his beliefs and what he actually, well, see, that's the wrong word, belief. Knowledge. That's the right word. Knowledge and what it is that he does. Hello, Seth. Thank you for coming on.
Hello. Hello, Alan. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I love. Could we just been have a conversation and before we come on air? And I love your Canadian accent, even though you were born in Hull and you live in Hull.
Yes. Someone has
Fabulous.
to live here.
Yes. Oh, it's all right, always. It's
Yeah, I
okay.
know.
Yeah. But you say what? 38 years
Yeah, I
absent.
was about 38 years in Canada. Yeah, I lived in when we first moved, I was 14. I lived here until 19 I lived in Hull till I was like 1974. And then
Yeah.
then my dad went out and he was offered a job in Canada with my uncle. And then we moved to Toronto. And then I lived then I moved to Ottawa when I was older
Yeah.
with work, and then I got transferred to Vancouver, and then the latter half before I moved back to Hull, I lived in Calgary.
Well, I think the problem was they haven't had any airplanes or boats over to Canada for years, have they?
No,
That's
no, that's true.
that's why it took you
That's
so
true.
long to get back.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. Canada is a beautiful country. The people are lovely. Um, so it was hard to leave. It was good. Canada was good to me, but as I got older, I always promised myself that I'd come back here for my retirement.
Yeah, but so we've got a family over in Canada.
Oh, okay,
So
that's nice.
yeah,
What
yeah.
part?
Um, I think I think one of them's in Toronto, if I remember
Toronto?
right.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
they're
I think
rich.
so. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah. Um, yeah. I know it's an expensive country. I know
it's
it
very
is.
inexpensive country. I'll give you an example. My parents bought a house in 1986. They've had a couple of houses before then, but they bought a house in 1986 for about 350,000. That was a lot of money back then. It's
Yeah.
worth almost 1.3 million now.
Mind you, property over here now are going absolutely scandalous, aren't they?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Not in Hull.
no, not you know. Now there's certain parts of the country where you can you can buy at a reasonable at a decent price, but
Yeah.
some places, I mean London. How do people live in London? I just
Oh
can't
no, I
figure it
don't know. I rented an apartment in what was it called, Hammersmith. Just bought her in Chelsea, and it was like just one room, and I had to share the kitchen, and I had to share the bathroom. It was a full studio apartment, and I was paying 2,800, and that was back in 2010 or 11, something like that, when I was working out there. Are you there, Alan? Oh dear, I think we've lost the signal, or Alan. Hello. Oh dear, it looks like we've lost the signal, Alan's end. Well, anyway. Okay, now can you hear me? Are we back? Oh, we're back.
I think we're there. Yes, we are.
And we're back. Can
Hello,
you hear me?
everybody. Yes, you're wondering what's going on. My internet went down.
There we go.
Yes, I can hear you well. Can you hear me, Seth?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
That's it. We're there. Good. Right. Yeah. Good. Right. I know it was on about you were living in Canada and everything, right? But
yeah, I was telling.
When I see.
Yeah. Well, I was telling. I was in the middle of a conversation about living in London.
Yes, that's right. I don't know how people manage it. I really don't.
No. I just said that I had a studio apartment in a house, and I had to share the bathroom and the kitchen, and I was paying like almost $3,000 a month, 3,000 pounds a month. So it's a lot of money.
Wow, that is crazy, isn't it? That really
Yeah,
is crazy. It is.
it is.
But now you put in a lot of your energy. You're putting
Yes.
a lot of your energies in now to doing some wonderful work, Seth. And
Yes.
I'd love to hear more about it, because when I read what you're doing on our WhatsApp, our SEyhs, I do marvel at what you managed to achieve.
Well, it's not me that's doing it. It's just God. I just planted when it started.
Yes.
I just planted a few seeds, and what's happened is it has absolutely blown me away. I couldn't be happier. We have literally got our order in like 9-10 countries. Like I think about 3 or 4 in Africa, a couple in South America, 1 in Canada, and it's just amazing. These people are very dedicated to what we subscribe to. I'll just go over a few things that have happened in less than a year. In El Salvador, Bishop Julio, he's one of my bishops. He was one of my biggest skeptics too, but he basically was convinced after started practicing Carmelite spirituality, and he was convinced to buy some land. And we're right now, I mean, we're helping him. The order's helping him construct a church. And he's just finished the inside, and the outside should be finished by the end of April. That's just one instance. And he's going to be building a school and also a monastery there as well. We have 3 orphanages. I'm sorry, go on. Sorry, Alan. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's absolutely amazing. I'll tell you what's fascinating me is how you have achieved this. I mean, did you find it was hard to do, or you realised God's calling and they made it easy for it to happen?
I find it extremely easy. Now, the one problem I do face though is is we want to do so many projects, and it's what blows me away is they cost money, obviously, and then the money's just there. It's like someone just gives us money. It's like just appears out of nowhere kind of thing. That's what I can't get over. It's not the money that I care about. It's like I said, we have 3 orphanages. We look after approximately 50 children, and we feed them every month. And they didn't have any clean water, so we prayed, and we've finished in Uganda. One of the orphanages is in Uganda, and we've just finished building a well that pumps out not just to the orphanage but to the entire village. And we're in the process right now of building one in another one in Uganda, and the Bishop John, and we've just dug the well, and we're about to cement it, and that one should be finished. Wow. Probably by the end of May. So and we feed these kids, and we've
that is incredible.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, the internet just kept going.
No, that's fine.
In and out again then. So, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Right. How do you get the funding? I mean, it's marvelous that you do, but
is
it through?
Yeah, we do. We get. What we've done is we're in the process of registering the order as a charity. But we actually get our funding. We've done GoFundYou, and we've got there was a good response from that. Could be better, but a lot of it comes from a lot of these bishops and a lot of the people that in the order get private funding. It's not just me. It's not just the order. They get funding. Bishop Wenceslaus House. He just got most of that money and built the well in Uganda by most of the money he raised by himself. So a lot of these people already have private funding and people they turn to. But the people that we try and we get donations in, maybe like 50 here, 20 here, and everything else here. The biggest thing I have on my side is the exchange of currency. So,
right. Yes, of course. Well, that can't be an easy thing either, can it? You know.
No.
Keeps changing every day.
Yeah, it is. It is. Plus, we I try and invest. I'm very good at investing, so I try and invest some of the money for the church, and I mean for the order. Sorry, in different things that will eventually pay off. I'm not talking gambling the money. I'm talking about putting it in bonds and stuff like that. Like if I feel like we get a good return, which we do these days because it's about 5%, and then in like a year we'll double the money basically. So it's not like we're always spending; we're saving too.
That's good.
Yeah. The one thing that I couldn't do by myself. So go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, not at all. No, please continue, and I'll say what I've got to say afterwards. Please continue.
Oh no, you go ahead and say it, and I'll answer it.
Yeah. No. I was also intrigued how you came to be a member of the SEyhs church. Which I'm a member of as well, and I find it quite a unique church. Incredible, actually. And I was curious
very accepting.
How you actually became to become.
Well,
yeah, very much. So.
Well, I it was about 2016, and I was I was introduced to the church actually through the internet. I ran into it through the internet, and I just finished actually my seminary, and I did my seminary through the OCAC United States, and I just finished that, and I just finished becoming a chaplain, and I needed actually it was like, but I think it was before 2016. I'd come across the church and I wanted to become Catholic, and I wasn't really interested in becoming a Roman Catholic, so I decided I would like to look at the old Catholic Apostolic Church, and I did a little bit of research. And 2016, at one of the synods, I became confirmed a member of the church. So then I looked into the seminary, and then I became a chaplain, and then I got a hold of Bishop Adrian, which is our patriarch bishop, and I asked him if I could have some kind of ordination to make it kind of official. So so he ordained me a cleric, and then from there I did chaplain work in an old age home in actually it's Methodist. It was actually a church, Methodist church. Help for the elderly, and then I became a deacon, and then last summer I became a priest, and the order kind of came into play in between deacon and priest. So that's kind of like how I became introduced to the church.
I see. Yeah, it's strange how we find our way, because. My friend and colleague David Parry, I don't know how the link happened with Bishop Adrian, but it did. Glad it did. And then because David and myself, I was a bishop already, and David was an archbishop, and we joined the OCAC. And I've never regretted it, actually. I think it's because
No, it's a lovely, it's a lovely
usually
organization.
your work,
Yes.
yeah, and
Like we're
the work that I do is totally different. But
yeah, that's it's
there's
the one
that
thing I like
many.
about the old Catholic Apostolic Church, Alan, is the fact that it's accepting to, it doesn't judge, and it's accepting to all walks of life. That to me is extremely important.
Yes,
I believe
very
that.
unusual also.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
it is very, very unusual.
diversification is what the world's made out of, and we should embrace it. We shouldn't be scared of it. We should embrace it, because that's what makes us all. That's what makes us all who we are and what we are. And if you look at the way Jesus approached everyone, he never penalized any group. He accepted everyone with unconditional love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, this being a very important week in the Christian calendar, shall we say, if you want to put it like that. And
Yes.
it actually strikes home, the importance of it all. It does.
Yeah.
But
In
one
the
thing
order.
that's always
I'm sorry.
one thing that no.
Okay.
All I was going to say, what always frustrates me about this time of year
Yes.
is the fact that in this country we have a bank holiday on Good Friday, and then we have a bank holiday on the Easter Monday.
Right.
But I don't know if you've noticed, but except for like banks and that, all the other businesses and that just carry on as normal, almost as if it is of no relevance. And
I know.
in some way, well, it's as important, if
Well,
not as slightly more important than Easter Sunday, because that's my
no,
view anyway.
I know. Even some of the churches, you look around for a place to go on Good Friday, and there's hardly anything open. And also to me, it's the entire week. I think it's just Western society in general has just gotten to the point where they just have gotten to the point where they look at Easter as fuzzy bunnies and chocolate, rather than the actual what it stands for, what our Lord and Savior went through on the cross, and even before the cross, the agony he had in Gethsemane. The way I look at it, and I mean each religion has a way of looking at it, but I try and follow. There's a saint called Anne Catherine Emmerich, and she had visions of Jesus and what he went through in the Passion, step by step. And I every Easter I start with that, and I follow it every day of the week until his crucifixion and resurrection. And it goes into a lot of detail. The Passion of the Christ was based on her visions. The movie with Mel Gibson did.
Right.
But I know what you mean.
To me, it's always a time for reflection. Always.
It is.
Yeah. It's.
And that's what I was. And that's why I look at this. I look at her visions as that. But it's not just this time of year.
I was sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just recollecting my own kind of journey, spiritual journey. Whereas
Mm.
I grew up with my parents going to Church of England, and then I was about
Yes.
12. I switched to Methodist Church,
Mm.
and then I then left there, and basically I didn't go to church. I'll be truthful, I just didn't go to church for a long, long time. Other fact of getting married and having the children christened, I didn't
Yeah.
attend church. And then, and then my marriage ended, and after it ended, I met Anne, and we've been together 35 years in June this year. And I
Really?
suddenly,
That's
where we used
amazing.
to live, there's a church around the corner, and and I thought I need to go, and I started to go on a Friday evening to, I suppose it's evening song really, I suppose,
Yeah.
and then this spiritual um, direction started for me, and I always remember the vicar there. I stopped going, and then one Friday
Mm.
evening about 10 o'clock, the door knocks, and he came in, had a cup of tea and that, and he said, "I was just wondering why you stopped coming, Alan." And I said to him, "Well, I'm just going through this big change in what I feel I ought to be doing." And I always remember his words were, "Well, Alan, God moves in most mysterious ways. And if this
He
is your
does.
journey, then that's good." He says, "and as long as you're feeling comfortable what you're doing, you have my blessing." And I thought that really was excellent,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we find out gradually what we're meant to be doing, don't we? Um,
Yes, we do.
just like
Yes,
with
we do.
yourself, you're
Yeah.
uh, yeah. I know you've actually saved some people from imprisonment, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah. It gets me very emotional, that subject. But to make a long story short, there was in some countries in Africa, especially in Nigeria and Uganda and Kenya, they passed laws that outlaw homosexuality in any form, in any shape. Um, it's banned, and you go to jail for up to well, it depends on what country. On average, it can be up to 10 years, and it's sick. It really is sick. And what happened is there was. It wasn't just me; it was the bishops as well. I mean, they helped. There was several. There was about five, six actually. People got arrested for openly being gay. Nothing like nothing outrageous, just being who they are. And I they got arrested, and we uh, we basically had to bribe. Well, I didn't, but the bishops had to bribe the authorities to let them go. And it was to make a long story short. Uh, all of them are out now, but one of them committed suicide, and that's why it's very emotional for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
so sorry to hear that.
yeah, yeah. I didn't
Just
know
for
the
somebody being
person.
who they are.
Yeah, yeah. It's really is sick. It really is sick. I I just I'm I will keep on fighting.
But
Sometimes you've got to break a few rules to do what you have to do, and I feel bad about doing that, but I don't want to. I won't stand for that. I can't. Something inside of me just won't let me stand for that. And so these I commend these bishops, and I won't go into detail about them, but because they can get into trouble. But these bishops really did what they had to do, and these people are out and they're free. And the best thing about that is, well, there's a bad thing about it too, is because they have to pretend who they're not, but they're free, and that's all that matters.
Also, it shows the hypocrisy, because if it's such an heinous crime, how is it paying some money? The crime doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
it's
abhorrent.
It's very corrupt. It's a very corrupt system, Alan. It's a very corrupt system.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
Well, I remember years ago, Anne and I went to help this family in Sheffield, and
yes.
There's a young man there, probably looking at him, I think he was about 27, 28, something like that. And he was on the computer, and he said hello, but he hardly spoke. And I noticed he just got one arm, and he was in a separate room, and his wife said, "Please excuse him." He says, "But he hasn't been in this country that long. He's managed to enroll at a university." He says he was in Zimbabwe, and what's the name, Mugabe, because he opposed Mugabe, had him arrested and amputated his arm. I mean, words fail to. I can't understand, but you know.
No,
you can see
there is no words.
Sometimes.
It's not the fact that it's just against every human decency there is to outlaw something that's nothing to do with anyone but the individual themselves. It's the fact that you're putting them in prison for who they are. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane. And I look at it as human rights. I look at it as I'll do what I have to do to help in this, because it goes against everything I believe. Everything I believe. It goes against everything what Carmelites believe. It's just terrible. We've got. How can you outlaw someone's sexuality? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And not only that, it's sick. It's sick what we had to do to get these people out.
Yeah.
It's sick. I mean, we had to literally bribe people, and it goes to show you where morals lie in these countries. So it's like, anyway,
Can you
explain more about it?
Yeah, now I was going to explain more about the Carmelites.
Well, the Carmelites have been around. Well, actually, it goes back to Elijah. He set up a school called the School of Prophets. It's actually in the Book of Kings, and he basically we honor him because it goes back to him. and it actually goes back to when he told Elias to go look for a cloud to come in, and he went and didn't see a rain cloud, because he'd basically been a drought in Israel for quite a long time. And anyway, he saw a cloud come out, and we believe that that's a symbol of the Holy Mother, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and that her forthcoming into the world to bring the Savior into the world. But it started with a bunch of hermits, monks, basically scattered around in caves, and they needed uniting. And then there was Saint Albert came along and united them all under one roof. And when the Crusades came, they headed out all over the world. And basically one of our patron saints, Saint Simon Stock, was visited by the Holy Mother, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and was given a scapula. And it's what we wear as protection and honor in the Our Lady of Mount Carmel, honoring in the Holy Virgin Mary. And to make a long story short, it's spread all over Europe, all over the world actually, but mostly Europe. And it represents, Carmelites represent a special way of praying, a special way of worshiping. It goes. Sorry, I just have to let my dog out. It has. It goes to the fact that.
That's all right. No problem.
Carmelite spirituality. It's what it was is or what it is. It's a joining of the soul to the Holy Trinity. It's literally heaven on earth. It's an inner peace, and it's an inner dwelling. More, I don't want to say more than the Holy Spirit, but it's more intense than the Holy Spirit. There's our two patron saints that I go to are Saint Teresa of Avila and Saint John of the Cross. Now, Saint John of the Cross was a Spanish monk, Carmelite monk, that was dissatisfied with the way that the Carmelites were acting. So he basically went. Well, actually, they imprisoned him for about 5 years, I think. But and in that 5 years, he wrote a book called, or he wrote something called Dark Night of the Soul. Now, what that is his interpretation of what this joining is. It's you basically go through a period where you literally don't feel like you are connected to anything, and you feel like God has left you. It's kind of like an imprisonment, really. Kind of like what he went through. But then when you come out the other end, after you go through it, and sometimes it could last a lifetime. Sometimes it could last forever. But most people, like me, it lasted about 3 months. And when you come out the other end, you have this joining, you have this inner peace, you have this, well, Jesus put it, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. That's exactly what I think he meant. It's a spirituality it's no different than anyone else's, but when I say it's more of a personal relationship between you and the Holy Trinity. And you get to feel like everything you do is so important to mankind. You literally feel detached from the world and more in touch with God, and you become everything you do is with unconditional love. And this is why I think this order is becoming so successful because all the Carmelites that are in here, I have them go through this dark night of the soul, and some of them are still going through it, but they get this bonding, and it seems like from there everything just becomes like a like everything you do, everything you want to do is for God. And this is why I think the order is moving forward, is because everything we do is in this joining of the Holy Trinity. Now, I'm not saying you have to become a Carmelite to have this. Anyone can have this. It's just related to the order. And I think that this whole experience that I've gone through in the last 9 months, 10 months, is all to do with this joining of the Spirit with the Holy Trinity, or the soul, Spirit, and Holy Spirit joining together with the Holy Trinity and becoming one. And this is if you can read about this in several books. There's the Way of Perfection by Saint Teresa of Avila, and then there's Dark Night of the Soul by Saint John of the Cross. These are the two that I stress in the order, and it's like a guideline. And then there's the Interior Castles by Saint Teresa of Avila that basically takes you step by step through the order of what you have to do to reach this certain level of spirituality. Now, I'm not any different than anyone else. It's just that I'm a sinner just like anyone else, but it's just it's just a special bonding that you have, that your soul goes through, and anyone can have this. Anyone, you don't have to be a Carmelite to have this. It's open to anyone, and this is what I put my Carmelites through. It's like a really intense training program, in which we do with people who join, and then it puts them on a path that that really helps them with their spirituality, and it also projects outward as well. It also projects outward in what they do for mankind. Now, I'm not saying you need works to get into heaven, but if we're Christians, we should have works. And when I started this 9 months ago, or even 9-10 months ago, I never would have believed the amount of work that's been done in this order in less than a year. And I think personally, each of us have our own special journeys we're on, but personally, I think that this has a lot to do with it. Following what these saints did and following in the footsteps of this order, I feel that we move forward. And that's the way I look at it.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's an absolute. Now, I'm not trying to say that the Carmelites are any different than anyone else, because we're not. We're the same, and anyone can have the bonding, the joining between your soul and the Holy Spirit and the Holy Trinity. It's just a special thing, or a special spirituality that became associated with the Carmelite order, and it still is today. And I am just blown away by the blessings that have come forward.
It's strange. Yeah, I would say it's strange, Seth, how just thinking of my own journey and Anne's journey. How once you're on on the journey, if you want to call it a journey, it's like there's no getting off it. You might.
No.
I see it as like a rail. Well, I see it like a railway track, and you're on this journey. The destination isn't clear when the destination will happen, and sometimes you might go off on branch lines, but you'll always come back onto the main track.
Yes.
And the
that's a very good analogy.
Experiences on your way to the final destination.
Yeah, that's a very profound analogy. I totally agree with that, and I'll be honest. I was lost until I was doing I personally until I found this way of spirituality. I was going through the motions basically, but it's not the fact that the joining is that the Carmelite spirituality is the only way to be, because there are other orders. There's the Benedicts and then the Benedictines and all of them. They all have their own way. But what intrigued me about this is the fact that the unconditional love that you have for your fellow man and what you want to do and how you want to build on God's kingdom on earth and everything else, it just falls away. There's no going back. There's just no going back. The way I see this is, for anyone that's on this kind of journey, is once you've gone through this whole experience, why would you want to go back? I just can't figure out anyone who would want to go back. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But that's the beauty of this. It is the forgiveness and the love that our Savior shows you by his redeeming blood. It's just, it gets me motivated every single day. I mean, we're all sinners, but there's always that cross and the blood that blood that shed, the passion blood that shed, that especially as we remember at this time of year, it washes away everything. But it makes this kind of spirituality makes you, maybe it brings things, brings forgiveness more to this center. Like it doesn't make you want to go back to sinning. It makes you want to go forward, and it makes the forgiveness of that blood more powerful, more reassuring. Anyway, to me, it's a path I'm going to be on for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's you're talking about Uganda.
Yes,
it's had a very turmoil history. I mean, going back, what was it, 60s and the 70s? You had Idi Amin there, who treated his citizens with total contempt, murdering and butchering. It's there's certain countries where it's like they've completely lost the way to be, and it goes on from generation to generation. There always seems to be another evil person to take over from the last evil person.
You'll find that in most African countries. Most of them are very corrupt. In fact, I can see why they're coming together and standing up for themselves, in the sense that they want their profits back in Africa, because the West has literally decimated and controlled Africa for so long. But the Uganda especially has gone through a turmoil that I couldn't experience. Like I was talking to my bishops there, that they said that there's mass graves that they go bless like every once in a while, and there's like not just hundreds but thousands of people buried there from these tyrannies that happened. And it's terrible. And not only, even today when things are just getting better a little bit, that there's children that are orphans that are on the street, and there's child trafficking on these streets, and we can only help so many, but it's really a bad situation. It's really a bad situation, and it's getting to the point where child trafficking in Africa is becoming the number one illegal source of money, and it's bad. It's just really, really bad, and I'm grateful that we can at least help a few of them. But there's more children on the street than there is adults begging, and I just even don't really want to go there, Alan. It's what you say is totally true.
Well, I mean, you and your bishops in those countries are doing your part, and the more success that you all have, then I know it can seem a long journey, but it is a journey towards, if you want to use the word, salvation of the people, because eventually people will realise and rise up. I mean, symbolically, going back, what's it, 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, that was people power.
Yes,
and
that was
the bad rule. Well, the bad rule. Well, the bad rule, don't they? But
yes.
But when people join together,
but the thing that
what they can achieve.
This is why I really don't. I'm aware of what's going on in the world, but I try not to get involved with what's going on in the world, because we're at the point right now where we may be more sensitive and we may be more caring, but in a lot of ways we've gone backwards, not forwards, and that doesn't surprise me. It just annoys me. But the thing is, since the 80s, things have gotten better. Maybe things are actually improving a little bit, but we as Christians, we can only do what we can do, and that's to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, and to teach and to show these children how merciful a loving Christ can be, and that even if we do a little bit, it can turn out to be a seed that's planted, and that seed can grow. For example, in Nigeria right now, I have a young cleric. His name is Brother. It kind of eludes me. Ambrose, Brother Ambrose. He has just registered Our Lady of Mount Carmel, OCAC primary school. We've just rented 3 rooms in a village, and we're just getting tables and chairs made, and then he's going to open up hopefully the end of April. We're going to have uniforms made and everything. When we're going to be doing this, we're offering free education to as many as we can to primary students of this village and hopefully further. And that alone, we will have mass there. We will have the Eucharist. We will have the sacraments, and we will bestow upon these children Christian values as best we can. We're not going to force them. I mean, that's their prerogative. But my point is that we trying to give these children as much as we can with what we've got.
Exactly. We're virtually out of time.
Okay.
Now, Seth. So, could you, if anybody wants to know more and wants to get in touch with you about it, what would be the best way that they could do that?
Well, the best way they can do it is just go to our website. It's quite a long one. It's Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Old Catholic Apostolic Church, and it's .org.uk. I know it's a long one. We also if you want to just get a hold of me, you can. My phone number and all my information is on the OAC website, so you can just find out from there, and our website's there too.
Okay, that's lovely. Yeah, that's marvelous. Thank you. I know this is the third attempt for us.
Yes,
to
but
get
we did
together.
We did it.
I really have enjoyed it. I'm just sorry the internet connection isn't as good as it should be, but
that's okay.
We got there. That's the main thing, and I find your work absolutely. Well, I find your work fascinating, Seth. I really do.
Thank you.
All
glory goes to God. All glory goes to God.
Feel free to share it around.
Yes.
You're right. It does. It does. So
it's been a pleasure.
Anyway, I wish you a very happy and peaceful Easter. Thank you. And
thank you very much, Alan. I do appreciate it. God bless you too. Take care.
I'm going to end. Okay, I'm going to end the broadcast now. So, and you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.